There is a woman who has just arrived at a party. She has been here for about 10 minutes. She has a drink in her hand that she is not really drinking. She is standing slightly off to the side of the main room, not hiding exactly, just positioned where she can see most of it. And in those 10 minutes, without trying the way she always does, she has already noticed more about this room than most of the people in it will notice all night. She has noticed the couple by the window who had a fight in the car on the way over. Nobody told her this. She can simply tell from the way they are being a little too polite with each other, the careful distance, the way he hands her a drink without quite meeting her eyes. She has noticed the host, who is smiling and refilling glasses and laughing at the right moments, and who is underneath all of it, quietly drowning. Something is wrong, or something is too much, and the host has decided to get through the night on momentum. Everyone else sees a gracious host. She sees the effort it is costing. And she has noticed the one guest in the corner who keeps glancing down at their phone. Not bored, worried. Something is happening somewhere else tonight. A sick parent, a bad text, a situation, and they came anyway, and they are only half here. Nobody else in the room has noticed any of this. The conversations carry on around the loud people, the funny people, the visible people. And she stands a little to the side, holding all of it. The entire emotional architecture of the room registered in 10 minutes flat, and not having the faintest idea what she is supposed to do with it. She has felt this her whole life, that she notices too much. Hold her. We're going to come back to her. Because I want to tell you something that I think a lot of you have lived in 1,000 rooms and have rarely heard named as anything other than a problem. Some people walk into a room and notice the loudest person in it, and some people walk into a room and notice the one person who isn't okay. If you're the second kind, you already know it. You've known it since you were a child, and somewhere along the way you probably absorbed the idea that it is a flaw, that you overthink, overread, overfeel, that you are too sensitive, that you should learn to relax and stop noticing so much. There is a pattern documented across the most closely studied life in human history that suggests the exact opposite. That the thing you have spent your life quietly apologizing for is in fact one of the rarest and most quietly powerful gifts a human being can carry. This is not a story about being nosy. This is not a story about reading too much into things. This is not a story about being too sensitive. This is a story about a particular kind of attention. The kind that in crowd after crowd sees the one person everyone else's eyes slide right past. And whatever you believe about who he was, the Son of God, a great teacher, or simply one of the most influential people who ever lived, the man at the center of this story built his entire impact on it. By the end of this, I think you are going to see your own attention very differently. Whatever you believe about who he was here is something the accounts of his life agree on completely. The crowds around Jesus were enormous. People pressed in from every direction, everywhere he went, in numbers that would overwhelm almost anyone. And in crowd after crowd, his attention did the strangest thing. It did not go to the biggest, loudest, most obvious thing in front of him. It went again and again to the one person everyone else had overlooked. Let me show you what I mean. 3 moments. Watch where his eyes go. The first, he is passing through a town and the whole town has turned out. The road is lined with people, and somewhere in that crowd is a man named Zacchaeus, a tax collector, which in that time and place meant he was despised by his own community, treated as a traitor and a thief. He was also, the account is careful to mention, short. Too short to see over the crowd. So he had done something a grown man of his status would normally be far too proud to do. He had climbed a tree. He was up in the branches of a sycamore trying to catch a glimpse, having made himself ridiculous because it was the only way he could see. Hundreds of people on that road, and Jesus stopped and looked up into the tree and called Zacchaeus by name. Of everyone on that road, he saw the man who had climbed a tree because he could not be seen any other way. He saw the one who had made himself small. The second moment, he is moving through a crowd so dense that the accounts describe people physically crushing against him on all sides. And in that crush, a woman reaches out. She has been sick for 12 years, bleeding, which in that culture made her ritually unclean, untouchable, socially invisible for over a decade. She does not want to be noticed. She just wants to touch the edge of his clothing and slip away. So she does. One touch in a sea of hundreds of touches, and she begins to disappear back into the crowd. And he stops, and he asks who touched him. The people with him think he is joking. Who touched you? Everyone is touching you. The whole crowd is pressed against you. But he is not talking about the crowd. He felt the one touch that was different from all the others, the one that was desperate and intentional and hidden. Among hundreds of accidental contacts, he noticed the single one that mattered. The third moment, he is sitting across from the collection box at the temple just watching people give. Wealthy people come and put in large sums, and there is a certain visibility to it. Large gifts make a sound, draw an eye. And then a poor widow comes and puts in 2 small copper coins. The smallest currency there was. The kind of gift that makes no sound at all. Every eye in that place was on the big givers. He noticed the widow, and he understood watching her that her 2 tiny coins were not a small gift at all, that proportionally quietly she had given more than all of them because she had given everything she had. Do you see the pattern? In every crowd he saw the one, not the spectacle, not the loudest. The person the noise was covering the one who had made himself small, the hidden reach, the silent gift. Whatever you believe about how he saw these people, the behavior is identical. In every account, his attention went automatically to the overlooked. And here is the thing I most want you to understand. That mode of attention, walking into a loud, crowded, overwhelming room and noticing the quiet person at the edge of it, is not rare because it is miraculous. It is rare because most people genuinely cannot do it. Most people's attention goes exactly where everyone else's goes, to the biggest, loudest, most obvious thing in the room. That is the default setting of human attention. It is how most people are built. Yours is not. Yours goes to the tree, and the hidden touch, and the 2 small coins. It always has. Which is the real reason you have spent your whole life feeling slightly out of step in crowded rooms, not because something is wrong with you, but because you are paying a kind of attention almost no one around you is paying. So let me tell you why most people cannot do this. Because once you understand the why, you are going to stop apologizing for the way your attention works. Attention is finite. Every person has a limited amount of it, and the brain is constantly, automatically deciding where to spend it. And for most people, the rule is simple. Attention goes to whatever is loudest, biggest, most obvious. The technical word for it is salience, the quality of standing out, and most human attention is captured helplessly by the most salient thing in the environment. The wealthy donor making a show, the funny person holding court, the spectacle, the noise. To notice the non-salient thing, the quiet person at the edge, the small gift that makes no sound, the man up the tree, the hidden reach requires a completely different kind of attention. Broad instead of narrow. Unhurried instead of grabbed. Not captured by the obvious, but free to wander to the thing underneath it. Most people never develop this. It is genuinely difficult, and the modern world with its endless competition for your eyes makes it harder every year. You were born running it. And if you have spent any time with this channel, you already know the root of it, because it is the same root underneath almost everything we talk about here. If you have heard me describe why introverts remember everything, or what introvert love actually is, it comes back to this same place. You process more of the room than most people do. More of the detail, more of the emotional weather, more of the small signals, the micro-expression, the shift in someone's voice, the thing they are managing, not to say that most people filter out as background noise. The noticing is not a decision you make. It is the byproduct of a nervous system that simply takes in more than most. There is an old word for the kind of attention you have. It comes from Greek. The word is prosochē. It means watchfulness, the continuous, deliberate paying of close attention to the present moment and to the people in it. And here is the part I want you to hold on to. Both the ancient Stoic philosophers and the early contemplatives treated prosochē not as a personality quirk, but as a practice, a discipline, even a virtue, one of the highest a person could develop. Philosophers spent their entire lives trying to cultivate the kind of attention that you have been running automatically since you were a child, and quietly apologizing for the whole time. Let that land for a second. The thing you were told was too much. The watching, the noticing, the seeing whole traditions of human wisdom considered the peak of what attention could be. There was a French philosopher named Simone Weil, intense, reclusive, almost unbearably attuned to the suffering of other people, who wrote one sentence about this. that I think you have needed to read for a long time. She wrote that attention, absolute, unmixed attention, is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Generosity. Not oversensitivity, not nosiness, not a flaw. Generosity. Maybe the purest kind there is, because to truly pay attention to another person, to actually see them, including the part they were trying to keep hidden, is to give them something almost no one else in their life will give them. The experience of being seen. Do you understand how rare that is? Most people go through entire days, entire weeks without being genuinely noticed by anyone. And you do it constantly, for stranger after stranger, usually without anyone realizing it happened. And I want to be honest with you, because you already know this part, it costs you something. You see too much. You walk into rooms and absorb their weather whether you want to or not. You often know something is wrong before anyone says a word, and just as often you say nothing, because no one ever taught you the noticing was valuable, or because you were not sure it was your place to name what you saw. It can be lonely being the one who sees what everyone else misses. That loneliness is real. I am not going to wave it away. But here is the thing I need you to understand. And it is the center of everything I am trying to tell you. The cost and the gift are the same thing. You cannot pay this kind of attention without taking in the weight that comes with it. The seeing too much and the seeing the one who needs you are not two separate abilities you could somehow keep one of. They are one ability. The same depth of attention that exhausts you in a crowded room is the exact thing that a moment later lets you notice the one person in that room who is quietly falling apart. You do not get to keep the gift and return the cost. They came together. They were always the same thing. If any of this is starting to land, if you have spent your life being the one who notices and have never quite known whether it was a gift or a burden, do me one small favor. Subscribe. Not because the algorithm needs it, because I am going to keep making these. Slow ones. Small ones. About the things almost nobody else is making videos about. And there is one more thing I want to give you before we end. Now, I want to take you back to her. The woman at the party, standing slightly to the side holding a drink she isn't drinking, having registered the whole room in 10 minutes, the couple who fought in the car, the host who is drowning the guest in the corner with something wrong at home. You remember her, holding all of it and not knowing what she is supposed to do with it. I want to tell you what to do with it, because I think this is the part nobody ever explained. She does not have to fix the room. That was never the job, and it was never possible. And the pressure she has always felt to somehow do something about everything she sees has been an unfair weight she put on herself. She does not have to announce what she notices. She does not have to walk up to the couple and mention the fight or tell the worried guest she can see their worry. But here is what she can do that almost no one else in that room is even capable of doing, because almost no one else can see what she sees. She can go stand next to the host for a minute. Not to fix anything, just to be near them. To pick up a tray and help carry it, to catch their eye and ask quietly, "You doing okay?" and mean it. It might be the first time all night someone has looked at them instead of through them. That is the whole thing. That is what the noticing is for. Not to carry the weight of every room you walk into, to be the one person who can see who needs a moment of being seen, and sometimes when you can, to give it to them. Her noticing was never a burden she was condemned to carry. It was a gift she was positioned to give. And she has been giving it her whole life quietly in small moments, usually without anyone knowing it was given, almost always without being thanked. I want you to think about your own week. Somewhere in the last few days you walked into a room and saw the one person who wasn't okay. You texted a friend, "Are you all right?" before they had said a single thing was wrong, because you saw it in their face, in a too short reply, in something nobody else caught. You noticed the colleague who went quiet in the meeting while everyone else watched the person talking. You did this automatically. It probably tired you a little, and almost certainly no one thanked you for it, because no one even knew it happened. That is the rarest attention there is, and you have been paying it for free your entire life. So before we end, let me give you 3 things to take with you. The first, noticing is not oversensitivity. It is a mode of attention that most people have genuinely lost the ability to use, the ability to register the quiet thing instead of the loud one. What you have been told was Too much is, in fact, a rare and precious form of human attention that you happen to be born already knowing how to do. The second, the cost and the gift are the same. You cannot see the person who needs you without also seeing more than is comfortable. The exhaustion is real, and I will never tell you it isn't, but it is the price of the most generous thing one person can give another: genuine, undivided attention. Being truly seen is something most people almost never get. You give it constantly. Try just once to count that as the gift it is instead of the flaw you were told it was. And the third, the one I want you to keep. In almost every crowd, there is one person who is not okay. And there is one person who notices. For most of your life, you have been the second one at the parties and the meetings in your own family, going all the way back to when you were a child, who saw the things the adults thought they were hiding. You do not have to fix everyone you see. You never did. But the next time you notice the quiet person at the edge of the room, the one everyone else's eyes slid right past, I want you to understand what you are holding. It is not a flaw. It is not too much. It is the same attention that in the most famous life ever lived was powerful enough to change people simply by landing on them. The world is loud, and it is getting louder. The people who can still notice the quiet one are rarer every single year. You are one of them. Before you go, I want to ask you something. And I don't want a clever answer. I just want you to sit with it for a moment. When was the last time you noticed something about a person that nobody else in the room caught, and what did you do with it? Tell me if you want to. Sometimes saying it out loud is the first time you let yourself believe the noticing was worth something. I am glad you stayed for this one. There are more of these coming. Slow ones, small ones, the kind nobody else is making. Until then, the next time you walk into a crowded room and feel that familiar thing, the quiet flood of noticing everything, everyone all at once, try not to brace against it. It is not too much. It is the most generous thing you carry. And somewhere in that room there is almost certainly one person who is about to be very glad that you, of all the people who could have walked in tonight, are the one who did.